All right. Good morning. Happy Hump Day. Welcome to the stream. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is the Invest with Jacob live stream. We do it every Wednesday where we feature our indicator, Invest with Jacob Pivot Point Pro. You can see it on my screen here. I'll highlight it. Turn it on and off. You can see the buy and sell signals on the screen go away. And if you're new to the stream, that is what we do. We're going to live trade today. We're going to day trade. We use 0 DTE options. And we have an indicator that we built that's custom for TradingView. And that indicator gives us simple buy and sell signals. And it's forward looking, which is to say most indicators look at things like the MACD or crossing moving averages or things like that that are in the past and take a while to actually give you the signal they're looking for, and they end up missing a lot of moves because of that. We get in at tops and bottoms or close to tops and bottoms. We don't always get the exact top and bottom. That's not feasible, but very close to tops and bottoms where we find these reversals and trade them. And we use a strategy that gives us a great risk reward. We use good stops, and we allow our runners to run, so we maximize our gains and minimize our losses. That's really what you want to do. Now, the indicator isn't foolproof. It isn't going to win every single trade. That is not how trading works. If it was, we'd all be super rich. It is, however, going to win a great majority of its trades, and it is going to give you the edge you need when trading the market. And that's really all you're ever looking for. The market's just a game of probabilities. Is it more likely to go up or down here? Okay, it's more likely to go up. So that's what we're going to play, right? That doesn't mean you're going to win every time or that it's going to go up every time. It just means that that's the most probable move at the time. And those types of things are important to understand about trading. There is no magic bullet. There is no you're going to win every trade item out there. That just doesn't exist. I don't peddle get rich quick. I don't peddle BS. I peddle how to actually trade the market, how to actually use discipline and good trade sizing and good trade risk reward setup so that you can beat the market over and over and over again. And that's what we do in my room. That's what we do with the indicator. And it really helps traders who have never traded the market successfully or just don't know how to trade the market or want to learn how to day trade. It really makes it simple and helps them finally make money in the market for the first time or consistently make money in the market. So some day traders, they'll have a good month here and there, but they overall they lose money because they don't understand how to set up proper trades and how to when to enter and when to exit and those types of things. The indicator makes all of that very simple. It gives you buy and sell alerts, and it is produced really, really consistent and really, really strong products. So if I come over here and paste in our results, here's the last 2 years worth of data using the indicator. And you can see that we have losing months. I want to highlight those first because I want you guys to understand that I'm not showing you just wins or just the good stuff. I'm showing you everything. Last March of 2024, we had a losing month. November and December were terrible. November, just a lot of odd things with volume was happening. There was very low volume trading in November, and the indicator trades. One of the key components is volume because that's how you know where key levels are. This year, May was a losing month. But overall, last year, and this is on a $100,000 account, so we trade 25 contracts on each trade. We have a $100,000 account, and this is your net. So $35,000 last year, so that's 35% on a $100,000 account. And this year, just over halfway through the year, we're already ahead of that. We're at $37,000 and doing really well again. So these are achievable numbers. If you follow the system and follow the rules, we give you exactly what you need to trade exactly how I trade it and get these kind of numbers. So you just the big thing to understand about trading is that it's a series of winning and losing streaks. You're going to have really, really great weeks. You're going to have really, really bad weeks. You have way more great weeks than bad weeks. And that's why you have to have the discipline in the trading system, and you follow the rules, because when the bad weeks come, you don't want to go broke because you're over trading, you're trading too big, you're all in on a trade, those types of things. Those are really, really bad habits and really, really bad ways to trade. So we teach you all that in the training videos. We show you how to use it. There are a few rules, so for today, so that you understand. In the blue, on the screen in blue, you see that's post-market trading, so that's after the close from yesterday. And then once it hits midnight and comes on to the next day, it turns yellow because that's pre-market trading. So you have to have that turned on for the indicator to work properly, because it needs to know what's happening overnight in order to get its levels. You also need real-time data for the ES and the NQ, and that is an add-on. I guess I should mention, this is a trading view only indicator. I'm in trading view right now. This is the 5-minute SPY chart, and that is what we use to day trade on the stream. But you can use this on any chart whatsoever. We've shown it on Microsoft, Nvidia, Netflix, Meta, Apple, Bitcoin, gold. You can use it on anything, and it works very well. So just understand that you need those things for the indicator to work properly. The other thing is, we only trade until 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 1 p.m. Eastern. And the reason for that is, once you get into the second half of the day, volume dries up, and it becomes much harder to predict moves, and the market becomes much choppier in most cases. Can it move heavily in the afternoon? Absolutely, absolutely. But more often than not, what we see is chop and slower moves, or continuation of trend, or things like that. So it's a early morning game for day trading if you want to succeed at it. And then finally, you'll see on the chart 1-day max, call resistance. These are options levels. So the 1-day max is very likely to contain upside today. That doesn't mean they can't blow through it. They just did it the other day on Friday. When you have a strong move, they will go through the 1-day max, but more often than not, probabilities, remember we play probabilities, more often than not, this will contain the move for the day if they decide to move up. Now that doesn't mean they can't come above it and then do this. They can do that. This is more about the end of the day close. More often than not, the end of the day close will be at or below this level, or slightly above, but it shouldn't generally be way above this level. The call resistance walls are the highest struck options for today. Those will create heavy resistance and support depending on which side. So if we're coming in from the top, it's support. If we're coming in from the bottom, it's resistance. And these levels are all very, very important. So you have a call wall here at 644, or I'm sorry, 645. You have one at 643. And then you have some high volume levels down here, and then much lower at 639 you have your put wall. So this is the highest level of puts struck, and then your 1-day minimum, which will generally contain the down move. So if they start to move down strongly today, 637.94, so basically 638, will generally contain the move. These levels are really, really strong trading levels. The market bounces off of them quite often and gives you great entries. And then the indicator uses that kind of information. It calculates about 175 different things, one of them being options. And when conditions are met, you get trades, and a lot of times it's off of these types of levels, and it gives you a lot more confidence in a trade when we're using these levels to push off of for support and resistance. So those are Mentor Q levels. You can see over here I have Mentor Q gamma levels end of day, Mentor Q gamma levels intraday. Mentor Q is a great site. It is one of the only two, I only push 2 products, and the only reason I push them is because I love them. 2 products that aren't my own, I should say. And that's TradingView, which I'm on right now, and I use every single day, and Mentor Q, which I have on my chart, and I use every single day. I never just peddle stuff to make money. I'm not some kind of affiliate marketer that just says, you should use this because I get money for it. I only tell you about stuff that I really love and use. So those are the two things in the description down below. Mentor Q, I have links that you can get 20% off of Mentor Q. And I highly recommend using it because it's a really, really awesome tool. They have a lot of other stuff. This is like just a tiny, tiny bit of what you get with them. They have all kinds of great training. They have all kinds of other levels and tools and different things you can use too. So check that out. There's a link down in the description for Mentor Q, but these levels are really important, really good to use for trading. That's pretty much it. We'll do a quick look at what we're expecting in the market overall. Good morning, Will. I don't think the market will move much today. Everyone waiting for NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, very possible. A lot of times they give you the move before the move. So everybody's waiting for the closing bell, and then the market moves up 100 points today, and everybody expects it. So they can give you things like that too, but you're right, sometimes they do consolidate and just kind of wait for the catalysts at the end of the day. I'm not good at day trading though, so watch the opposite happen. You don't need huge moves for day trading. You only need, well, I'll tell you, the indicator is looking for 7 to 10 points with potential. So what I mean by that is when you get a sell signal, it's looking for a move down on the ES of about 7 to 10 points. That's about 70 cents to $1 on the SPY, which usually gives you the 20% win we're looking for up front. And then with potential means after the 7 to 10 points, it can reverse and go back the other way, but it has potential to be a runner where it just breaks through support or resistance and keeps going, and you get a much, much bigger move. So you don't need huge moves to be successful at day trading. You just have to know the levels and when to get in and out so that you can, be profitable. The whole concept, guys, is we're looking to basically get a bunch of singles, like base hits, like in baseball, a single. We're looking until we can get some doubles, triples, and home runs. So we're just trying to keep our batting average high, right? And the reason for that is if this is your entry price, okay, we have our stop here, and then we have our first take at 20%. So it's a small win, but it's a win to get us going. What we do is we close half the trade at 20% right here. Then if the trade keeps going, we have what's called a runner, and the price keeps going up, and we trail our stops and we take profit at key levels. To the downside, we have our stop. Well, in our losing trades, you have a stop. Now, we win about 6 out of 10 trades roughly, and for our trading style, that's what you need. How many trades you win versus how many you lose, or your winning percentage, is irrelevant. Your risk reward is much more relevant. And the reason for that is if I've got a 5 to 1 risk reward, meaning my target is 5 times higher than my loss would be, I only have to be right 1 out of 6 times to break even. Well, 1 out of 6 is a very, very low winning percentage. Well, at 2 out of 6, I'm 33%, and I'm making money. So winning percentage is a misleading number as far as trading goes. But in our case, we win about 6 or so out of 10. And of those 6, 2 or 3 usually are runners. And then you have like 3 or 4 that are just 20% winners or so, smaller winners. Those 6 wins cancel out the 4 losses, right? And your runners up here are basically all profit. So your 6 20% wins, because all 6 of your trades would have hit that threshold, cancel the 4 losses, and then everything that you got that ran is essentially profit. So all we're trying to do is get on base here and have, base hits until we get one of these doubles, triples, and grand slams, and then we get RBIs. We drive in runs, or we make money. We drive in money. So risk reward strategy and how you look at the market on a given day, and the amount of money you risk per trade and your stops, all of that is extremely important to successful trading. Real quickly, let's jump over to the charts here, ES and NQ. If you've been in my room for a while, you know that we charted this as being a wave 3 top. We were looking for wave 4 to 63.60. They came down to 63.62, so pretty darn good there. Into wave 1 territory, we were looking for this exactly. I was calling for it up here. I said they should be pulling back because this is going to be a diagonal structure, and then we should see an ABC higher, which we've started to see so far. So in theory, we would be looking higher towards 65.30 to 65.50 for the next move. The catalyst for that move, of course, can be NVIDIA. It doesn't have to be. It can be NVIDIA. It could be something like GDP, I think, is this week. It could be something next week. So that's what we'd be looking for. If they do fail below 64.33 here, yesterday's low, if they fail below that, they need to hold 63.95 for the B wave. So this is A of 5, and then you could potentially have A, B, C down. They need to hold 6,400, and then you could have C up as well. So those are the two short-term paths. If they're going to move down strongly, we would look for 6,400 to hold, and if they are going to move up, we would look for them to move directly towards 65.30 to 50. They break out over yesterday's high. That's what we would be looking for there. And if they break 6,400, very likely they're going to come down and test these lows from mid-August. And if they break that, the 63.60 area, very likely we come down to test 62.50. So right now we're trying to complete this fifth wave higher, assuming it's not already complete, but that would be the primary path, is we're trying to complete this fifth wave higher. It's a lot of fives because it's the end of a major move. And then we would see what happens from these levels, if they're going to turn down or extend. They can do anything they want to do. And that's a big misconception about Elliott Wave, is that it's either supposed to be super predictive or it's supposed to be right all the time. And people complain that we give two paths so we can't be wrong. Elliott Wave is simply giving you the key levels to understand when the market changes tone, when the market changes trend, and it does give you levels above, but those are for, each one is just a target that we would expect to hold in most cases. If they go higher, that is certainly well within the rights of the market and the rights of Elliott Wave to extend. We don't just simply look at Elliott Wave and say, oh, it's supposed to go higher here, so we're going to get long. That's not how it works. You say it's supposed to go higher here based on structure, and then if we get a setup for higher, we go long. We don't just blindly trade. We look for a setup that gives us a clean entry for a good, solid trade with good, solid risk reward. Just because Elliott Wave predicts the market's going to go up doesn't mean we're trading long. It means we're looking for a setup for a good long trade. And vice versa. If Elliott Wave says, hey, the market should be going down here based on the structure and things, we don't just blindly short the market. We look for a setup. We get confirmation of hitting fibs, things like that, where we have a much stronger and better way to trade, or much stronger, better trade setup than just blindly saying, well, it's supposed to go up, so we'll be long. That's just not how we want to deploy our money, because there's just too many variables off of those levels, and we want to eliminate the variables. So you start with a lot of variables, and then as the structure builds, you get less and less variables and tighter key levels. And once you have that kind of setup where you have tight key levels, you know where to place your stop, and you have good risk reward, and you have a reason for that, you have a setup that plays out more often than not, that's when you have a trade. So just understand that about Elliott Wave. It's not some magic tool that is supposed to be right all the time and never misses. And again, there's nothing like that out there. But it is one of the best at predicting key levels and understanding what happens when those key levels break. Alexi, welcome to the stream. George, welcome to the stream. Good morning. NQ, yeah, sorry, we'll go over there. So NQ is a little different, and the reason is you would have expected NQ to, hold on one second. You would have expected NQ to hold this low right here at about 23,000, and they spiked below it. Well, when they spiked below it, that invalidates the diagonal, which can tell you that a top might already be in place. So you normally have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 would come into wave 1 territory, which it did. The problem is it went past wave 2 territory, and that invalidates the diagonal. So now this can be a wave 4. Okay, so this can be 3 and 4, and then we'd look for this to be an ABC higher. That would be the path higher. We're still in a bigger diagonal. We're still looking at ABC structures. This is how diagonals work. And that would target 24,138 to 24,284. So that would be the bullish trend. However, there is a chance that the ES needs to top, but the NQ already has. So in that case, you would look for the NQ to kind of extend here, maybe get a pullback and then up. ES makes a new all-time high. NQ kind of meets this peak over here and fails off the 764, which is 23,807. That is a possibility that we could look for here. Should the ES be bullish and fill out that main path higher, we would look for the NQ to potentially come up to this 23.8 level and fail if it's not going to make a new all-time high. If it pushes through 23.8 and over that peak right here that's at the 23.8 level, that would be a strong indication they're going to go ahead and make a new all-time high toward that 24,138 to 24,284 area. If they break this low here at 23,000 or so, then they're coming into these August lows, and if they break those, that's the first warning to the bears that a potential market trend change is occurring. So they have to go much lower to confirm a trend change, but this would be shots fired right here under the August low. Are you long gold? Yeah, we have been since last April of 2024. We got into, so EK Wax right here, we moved all of our 401k into precious metals, and EK Wax is right now at 103. We got in at 49. So all of our retirement money has more than doubled in just the last year and change. So when you're in my room, you get more than just trades on the daily and on swing trades. We manage our 401ks, and our 401ks over the last year have gone up over 100%. So we are definitely long gold. We are looking for gold to hit 350 plus, GLD anyway, not overall gold. GLD to hit 350 plus, and it's down a little bit right now. Gold's consolidating. It's in a triangle. We'll have to see which way it breaks. If it breaks down, I would expect 270. We've been talking about that number in my room for a while. It's right around this low, 273 to 270. This high here and this low here combination is pretty good support. If they break to the downside, if they break to the upside, I'm expecting 340. 336 to 356, but given their overall stretch here, I would say about 340 would be the next target higher. And if they want to extend, they certainly can. This is creating a lot of pressure, though. So whichever way they break is going to be pretty strong. And right now it's looking like a triangle setup and consolidation for a flag higher. But if they do break down below these lows here at about 300, that would be the level that I would start to be not concerned. I do think if it pulls back to 270, it'll hold and continue higher. But that would be the level that would cause the breakdown, a strong break of 300. Okay, we got 2 minutes to the open, so I need to get ready for that. I was behind last week. I don't like being behind on the open. I'll get this back on NQ. Go to the SPY. We don't trade anything in the pre-market, guys. All of these, you see, you get a lot of signals here, and there's just not enough volume. So the indicator is built on volume and price action and things like that. So high volume areas of interest, that's what we're looking at, and that's what you want to use for trading, because those are the levels that will get defended, and those are great to trade off of. So we will be looking for a long at the open, just so everybody knows. The reason I know that is I can see that there's a sell on the screen. We're always looking opposite. That will change if you get a sell stop. So this SS you can see on the screen, that means the sell has stopped, so you can get another sell signal. They are establishing the pre-market low right now. It can lead to a trend day down if they break down strongly. We'll have to see how it goes. We got 40 seconds to the open, so I'm just trying to get my trade set up here real quick. We're not going to trade long unless we get a signal. I'm not saying as soon as the market opens we're going long. I'm saying the next signal we get would be a long, so I'm preparing myself for that. All right, we're going to be at 6:45, it looks like. Will be our strike, unless if they move down further, that we adjust that. Good morning. Sorry, how far can this drop? On NQ and still make a new high. April lows. They need to break the April lows to fully break the cycle. All right, we are open and we are long. It came up right there at 139. So we have 645 at 139. Our stop is going to be 644. So right out of the gate, we're getting one here. Let's see if they can go back up and hit VWAP there. We've had, I'll be honest with you, August has been really hard because the opens have been really, really choppy. So the move is establishing later in the day in August, which is a little more difficult to trade because we're looking for traditional probability, which is that the move establishes pretty early in the first hour of the day or so, or that you have followed through on the move. So if you're going to stay range bound, very often they will, do this and then you get a trade, and do this and get a trade. But what they're doing is they're doing this to get to these levels, and that's less common that's a less common thing we see. We got in at 139, so that would be 28 cents essentially would be our first take, which is 167. So we'll just call that 168 because I like even numbers. So we'll see if they can deliver that. Let's go look at the charts real quick. Okay. So back to VWAP, this is going to be a heavy resistance zone. You can see we're at the call resistance and VWAP. Getting above this would be very bullish to start. So they will need to get through that level. And if they can do that, we should, we got the 21 here to contend with at 645.22. But if they get through that, we should go attack the pre-market high up here at 646, basically. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hope you're enjoying it so far. A lot of education and talking in the first part of this, and now we'll get into the trading. We do currently have a long. There's the buy signal. It comes and goes right now because we're kind of at the threshold. So as we're hitting the threshold, when it's met, you see the buy signal. And if it gets, if it comes out of that threshold, the buy signal goes away. Now, once the bar prints, in other words, once it closes the 5-minute bar, if the buy signal is on the screen, it will always be on the screen. It doesn't go away after that. So we trade as soon as we see the buy signal, and or the sell signal, whichever way we're trading. But we trade as soon as we see it because you get a better entry. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time you get a better entry. And a lot of times we get what we call a 1-bar winner, where this bar right here that we're on will give us the win inside of that 1 bar. And then the next one, may turn down and stop us out, or it may continue on. But we get a winner because we got in as soon as we saw the buy signal, as opposed to waiting for the bar to close. So right now we are at the 8 and VWAP. The red line is the 8 moving average. That is an exponential moving average. And the black line is VWAP. Those are very good resistances coming from the bottom. The 8 is more of a momentum indicator, so as long as they stay below the 8, momentum would still be down. If they close back above the 8, momentum goes to neutral. And then if the 8 gets above the 21, which is the blue line, and then price is above the 8, then momentum is up. So the 8 is below the 21 right now. That's the blue line. And price, well, price is right around it. But if price is below that, then momentum is down. If price is back above it, momentum goes to neutral. And if the 8, which is the red line, gets above the blue line and price is above it, then momentum is up. So this will be the key area. They closed right at VWAP. Will the bulls go ahead and press here, or are they going to reject and test the lows again? They still have a little bit of resistance. Well, they have plenty of resistance above them, but right here they're coming into a selling bar. So a 5-minute selling bar, not a major one, but the selling area right here and the 21 are at the same place. So we want to make sure that we're watching that area. For potential reversals as well. We've been super unlucky the last couple of days. We missed a winning trade by 1 penny yesterday. So in order to hit some of these spikes, you have to have your target in. So right now I have 168 in as a target. So if it hits, it will automatically close half of my trade. And when you have that, you can't manually close your trade. We missed yesterday by 1 penny on a trade, and then it went the other way and failed on us. And that's been happening quite a bit. We've missed probably 3 trades by pennies that have turned into losers the last few days. So a little bit unlucky, but those things even out. There's been lots of days that we miss our stop by a penny, and then the market goes the other way, and we have a winning trade. So been on the wrong side of those lately, but again, those even out, and that's something that is part of trading. You know, it's like buzzer beaters in basketball. Sometimes guys are going to make buzzer beaters on you that beat you, and sometimes you're going to make some buzzer beaters that beat other teams. All right, challenging that 21 again. We're very close to our first take. If they can just push it just past it, we'll have a winning trade here. The ADD is increasing strongly, so that should lead to a little bit of short-term push, and we'll see if they can, go a little better here. Okay, close half at 168. There's our winning trade. We'll set our stops to 140. We never want to turn a winning trade into a losing trade. So we set our stops to 140. We got in at 139. That means the second half would be about break even, which would give us a 10% winner on the trade should they fail. But we don't want to give up wins. Like I said earlier, these are base hits, and these base hits, they are important to the risk-reward structure. So we want to take these wins. We don't want to turn them into losers. We don't want to practice poor trading habits and move our stops or get mad and revenge trade or do anything like that. We just say, okay, we got a 10% winner. 10% is good on your money if you do it over and over again. And if they run, then we have a really nice winner. So we have a winner locked in. and we will see if they can now create a runner. We're in a good spot on this as well because we have plenty of room to the pre-market high, which would be our next major resistance, and they're trying to get through the 21. If they can get through the 21 and push a little bit here, we would expect them to go on up to the pre-market high, especially considering they opened at the pre-market low and failed. So they opened right at the pre-market low, failed to break it, and now are trying to get above the 21, and if they do, more often than not, they will go at least to the pre-market high. Guys, if you took that trade and you made some money, hit the like button. If you get good information and you're happy with that, hit the like button. It helps me spread the word. It helps YouTube know that people like my content and more people want to see it and can see it. So that would be very helpful, and I'd very much appreciate if you guys share this video, like this video, comment on this video. Any of those things are all helpful and all appreciated. Thank you guys for joining me today and having some fun trading. 1 for 1 out the gate. That's always a good start to a good day. Let's see if we can get a nice runner here and go up and hit that pre-market high for another profit take. So there's a back test of the 21. We'll see if they can fully hold. Right now they've back tested and held, and are trying to hammer out this candle. So that would be a bullish sign as well. NASDAQ is not as thrilled with the open. So if we go over the NQ real quick, we got 3 green bars on the ES. You have this look on the NASDAQ. So kind of a warning sign here that the NASDAQ's not participating in the rally. They did spike their pre-market low and go higher, but since have turned down. And NASDAQ is usually the leader in the clubhouse, so be very cautious here. We could see a stop coming on the SPY. Let's see here. SMH is down decent. Nvidia's down decent. Yeah, the Mag 7's getting, well, the top of the Mag 7's getting beat up. Apple. Looks like Amazon and Google are the greens. Tesla's green. So we'll see if they can rebound a little here. What's RTY doing? I didn't look at RTY. RTY is pretty decently green. And remember, RTY is kind of always our barometer of what the market's going to do. So if ES and NQ are currently red, which they are, and RTY is somewhat solidly green, which it is, it's awfully hard for the market to collapse. More often than not, the market will either chop or catch up and go the same way as the RTY. However, there are some days when the RTY reverses and it goes from solidly green to red, and those are the days that you have big breakdowns. But as long as RTY remains green, I would expect this market to go sideways to up today. You also have the Dow Jones transports that are green and the banks that are green, so supporting evidence is green. The ADD started at negative 800, it's positive 200, that's a huge move up. The gold started negative, it's positive. We're seeing the gold ratios turn green or get close to turning green. So there is bullish evidence today for a hold. The Biggest thing I would look at is the one-day max 647. So it's possible that this can be capped at 647. That would be an area of interest to me. These are, and by the way, when I point these things out, in the back of your mind, you should say, why does he point those out all the time? Maybe they're part of what factors into the indicator. You guys are always asking, what's in the indicator, what's in the indicator, and subtly I give it to you. NASDAQ and ES are going in exact opposite directions. That's going to even itself out. Now, based on the supporting evidence, I would say the NASDAQ would likely try to find a bottom and catch up. However, the NASDAQ does lead and the MAG 7 does lead, and if the MAG 7 decides to really crank it to the downside, it doesn't matter what the supporting evidence says, the market's going to move down. The 30s almost back at 5 again. Markets don't like when the US 30s 5 are over. So keep an eye on that. Bitcoin's still hovering around that 110 zone. Again, if they break through that level, 100 would be next in line. Nvidia pulling back a little, yeah, pretty common heading into earnings to see, especially after the run-up Nvidia's had over the last few days, to see a little bit of selling into earnings. Nvidia could shock people. It's at a key level, or it's in the area of a key level, and one of two things is going to happen. Earnings is going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do, and they're going to go green and move up, solidly. But if they fail that key level, it will be a squeeze to the downside, and could be a quick turn to the bearish side. It's a major resistance zone right now, and that can produce big rejections on these types of setups. Please don't take that as trading advice or that I think Nvidia is going down. I haven't looked at the chart that in depth enough to make any kind of assessment. I just know that the level is a key resistance level, and very often those can produce failures for earnings. All right, we're hanging in there. NASDAQ trying to find a bottom and bounce here. If it does, we're going to look higher to the pre-market high at 645.99. That would be our next target higher. Happy Wednesday, guys. Last Wednesday in August, last Wednesday before college. Well, college football was on last weekend, but the real weekend starts this weekend. Finally, something to do on the weekends that, don't get me wrong, I go out and do hiking and stuff, but once you get back in and you start looking at the day and you're getting ready to settle in and, want to watch something, it's not going to be very good in the summer. I hate baseball. Baseball is awful. And yeah, so the summer doldrums of no weekend sports is just about there. NASDAQ was unable to hold its bottom. It's turning lower and bringing the market with it. We're getting close to our stop here, so we'll see if we stop out at 140 and have a small winner, or if they can find a higher low here and push higher. If you guys ever have questions, now's the time to ask. You have me live where I can answer them in real time and give you the feedback or answers you want. So fire away on questions. That's what we're here for. Obviously, we're demonstrating the indicator and have a winning trade so far, but I'm here for knowledge and help and answering questions or anything else I can do to make your trading better. If you don't know, I'm moving to Kentucky, and that's a good thing because I'll be on the Eastern time zone, and then I don't have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to start work, which wears on you. So that's exciting news. We leave Friday after the market closes. Well, after our day's wrapped up here, and start heading that way. In a couple weeks, we'll be new residents of Kentucky. Is there any day of the week the indicator wins most often? I mean, I haven't looked at it as a day-by-day thing. I would be guessing if I said anything, honestly, Will. It's pretty consistent overall, so I don't... nothing jumps off the page at me. How's that? ES intermediate swing trades. What time frame signals would you look at? I mean, I look at the weekly for my swings, but those are month. I'm looking to swing out several months. The daily does pretty good, but the weekly and the 5-minute are where I look personally. But if I was looking at other types of trades, shorter term trades, maybe a couple weeks or something, the daily is not a bad one. Does this mean we can all have an East Coast IWJ meetup? Sure. Why Kentucky? That's where I was born and raised, and my family's there. When my dad passed, we all went back over there, my family, and my wife. I mean, she's been there before, but she really felt at home there. You know, her mom and her brother passed. She only has her dad and her family, and he lives out here. That was the reason we were going to move to Washington. But that's, you know, he's retiring in a few years and talking about he doesn't even want to be here after he retires. So we're like, well, why would we be here if you're not going to be here? That's the whole reason we're here. And we want our kids to be around family, so that's why we chose to go to Kentucky. Homes are more affordable in Kentucky than Seattle. Yeah, like threefold. That's crazy. What we were looking at here versus there, uh, it's yeah. All right, we held our stop, and they're trying to push out here. NASDAQ has found a temporary bottom anyway, so if it can start to rally a little bit here and join the rest of the teams, we could see a nice winner. We'll pay for our home and gas, though. I mean, gas here is like $5 a gallon, and in Kentucky it's like $2.75 a gallon, so it's almost half price. Do you think IWM will outperform with rate cuts coming? If IWM is going to go to a new all-time high, then yes. I do think it'll outperform. It has a lot of catch-up to do, and it has been outperforming. It's outperforming again today. Over the last week or so, it's been outperforming, though. And I do think that if it's going to grab an all-time high before we turn over, then yes, I do think it will outperform. If it's not, then no. It will lead to the downside. You good playing the banjo? Guitar, not banjo. My uncle can play the banjo, but he can play guitar. He can play anything. He's very talented. I've had all-time highs for IWM. Same thing happened in 2000. Yeah, it's very possible. If they can break out over the or the prior resistance just above them, then very likely they challenge the all-time highs. Chopping away on VWAP in the 21. Somewhat of a choppy open today. Nice early move that we caught, and since sideways, but we're on the right side of it, and they are still above our stop. So hanging in there for now. We'll see if we can accelerate to the upside here and get a runner. I'd like them to go ahead and hit that one-day minimum or maximum at 647. And they can turn down there and give us a sell signal. Market's had a few chances to try to turn down and test the pre-market low, but the supporting evidence has been green and hasn't allowed it to break down too much. NQ has broken its pre-market low and is trying to bounce, so we'll see if today is kind of a bounce and then fade day. So very often, if an index breaks its pre-market low solidly, like the NQ did here, wait for that to come up. So here's the pre-market low on NQ, and they broke it pretty solidly. Very often when that happens, you'll get a bounce. You get a bounce, and I would say a bounce probably back to around this level here, which is 23.5, and then you'll get a fade into the end of the day. So we'll see if that's what we get today. Short-term bounce, and then fade it back to basically flat, or are they going to be able to find the bottom here and try to accelerate? They can break the prior high here, at 645.50. If they break through that, we're looking at 645.99 next. We should be really looking at 645.99 either way, given that they rejected the pre-market low and got back above the 21. More often than not, they'll go test the pre-market high. Doesn't have to go directly. They can pull back and then spike up there or whatever. But it's certainly a common target if the pre-market low holds. I remember the 2000 crash. Rates came down and home prices went way up. I think it'll repeat. Yeah, I do think it'll repeat, only worse. Home prices may not go up, but I think you're going to run into stagflation, and I think you're going to run into banking issues. I've talked extensively about my thoughts on banks and their balance sheets and um, how many issues there are in banking between shadow banking and commercial mortgages and credit card debt and used car debt and default and all of the things that we're facing on balance sheets. The banks are underwater if there's any hint of weakness in the market, and that will be a problem because if the banks start to go underwater, the market will go underwater. I mean, right now you've had people want to talk about what the bubbles are. Well, this bubble is AI. This bubble is commercial real estate. This bubble is debt. This bubble is somewhat housing, not as bad as 2008, but housing is not great. Um, it's a quite a bubble that we're facing, a financial bubble that, when popped, will I think wreak havoc for quite a while. All right, starting to break out over the high here. Let's see if they can race it back up to the pre-market high. We'll take a profit. The next profit target is there. slow moving consolidation here. Nasdaq still not really firing the way you want to see the bulls fire. Given the 1 day max above us at 647, I do think the upside is capped today. Meaning I don't think you're going to see a big blowout runaway train. And given the fact that NQ still hasn't gotten on board, showing some weakness here, I think that if it doesn't start to pick up on the NQ, that could be an early warning sign. Crypto bubble, I just don't understand it. Just monopoly money. You realize, Will, that all money is monopoly money. Just because I have a green thing that says $100 on it only makes it valuable because we decide it's valuable. It's not valuable because the paper it's printed on or the special ink they use or anything else. It's valuable because we have decided it's valuable. As a society, we've decided what kind of currency or what we believe to be valuable. Why is gold valuable? Or why are diamonds valuable? Because we think they are. I realize there is a supply-demand issue on those. Like, it's rare, so it's more valuable. But only because we decide. You know, there are other rare things that we don't think that are that valuable. So, in a sense, yeah, it is kind of interesting monopoly money, but to me it's no different than anything else if you just sit back and maybe just sit back and think about it. But yeah, crypto bubble, you could definitely see. I think Bitcoin is getting close to where I would expect it to have a major top. 125 to 140 is our target up. But if they break down below that 99 level, that would be a major warning sign on Bitcoin. Dollars have value because you have to have them to pay your taxes. No, you can pay it in Bitcoin. You don't have to have dollars to pay things. I did read I don't know if it was a tweet or a post or something from some genius that said money is useless in a construct of whatever oppression they thought it was, because everybody's oppressed. And they said we shouldn't have money. We should have something that you can exchange with each other for goods and services. You mean money? I don't know what the difference would be if we're exchanging clamshells or money. It's the same thing. You're exchanging whatever you have deemed valuable for something else that they have deemed valuable. I didn't know they took Bitcoin. I'm just saying that you can convert your Bitcoin into cash and pay it. I don't know that they technically take Bitcoin, but if you had 1 Bitcoin, you'd have, $100,000 worth of cash or $110,000 worth of cash. So my point is that if you had all your money in Bitcoin right now, you could still pay your taxes. I do like that our government, the American government, wants to create their own crypto coin, as if there was something people couldn't trust less than a government-backed crypto. Nobody trusts our government as it is, and now you want us to believe that your crypto coin is going to be on the up and up, huh? Seems legit. Slow grind higher here. Nasdaq still trying to fully get out of its resistance zone, but it's helping push us toward our target here where we can hopefully get another take. I'll probably take some just before the pre-market high for a couple reasons. One, they like to get up close and fail. Sometimes they reject it really, really fast right off of it, and you didn't get a chance to get the price you wanted. So if they get up there around, I don't know, 80 or so, I'll probably go around there. Man, it's something in my throat. I can't get it out. And welcome to the stream, Wayne. If you got here late, we got a buy right at the open. You can see it on the screen there. First candle of the day. We are in that trade currently. We have already taken half off. We have a guaranteed winning trade. We are trading our own private indicator that we created called IWJ Pivot Point Pro, and we're having a great time. So welcome to the stream if you just joined late. We're demonstrating IWJ Pivot Point Pro, and right now, guys, I didn't even talk about, you get 30% off your first month of the indicator with the code JG30. If you put that in, you can get the indicator for about $18 off, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you want to try it out, try it for a month. You don't even have to use real money. You can paper trade it, or you can just sit here and watch and, go in at the end of the day. If you don't want to watch your screen all day, you can go in at the end of the day and see, from the open until 10 Pacific Standard Time, how did the trades look. They can be a little deceptive because, again, we have one bar winners and things like that where it doesn't necessarily look like it'd be a winner, but it is. But you can watch it for a month, risk literally nothing, get your money back if you don't like it, and or if it doesn't live up to the hype, and really improve your trading. It's helping hundreds of traders beat the market on a consistent basis. And it's, we have 2 years of data on it, or a year and a half of data on it, where we're up about $72,000 on a $100,000 account. That's a pretty incredible return on investment. I'm pretty happy with the indicator overall. If you just follow the system the way we have it built, you'll do really well. We give you training videos and everything else. And if you don't have a TradingView account, I have a link once you get the indicator, and that link will give you a discount on your TradingView account. Okay, let's take another half off here at 190. And we'll set our stops to 150. We'll start trailing our stops here. So now we have a running trade, and this is what I was talking about earlier. We take the first at 20%, and that's kind of your base hit. You get on base, now we're driving in runs. We got a little double going here. We'll see if we can get a home run and really race it higher. Remember, we are looking for them to get to at least 645.99, which would be the pre-market high. They're pretty close to that now. We took some off there. People will say, why didn't you wait for them to get there? Because you can see a really fast rejection off of those types of levels, and sometimes they never get there. They come up to like 645.92 and then turn down. So you don't always get to hit that target. So we lower risk by taking a nice profit a little bit earlier than we have to. Or than we were looking to, I should say, not that we'd have to. Do you think Powell is doing a good job? Trump does not. I don't think Powell has done a good job, period. End of story. And that was before Trump ever said it. If you've been following me much, I rail about Powell quite often. I don't know how the smartest economic man in the world could look the American public in the eye during COVID and say inflation is not going to be a thing, when my rudimentary education and simple math skills told me that not only was it going to be a thing, it was going to be a nasty thing. Um, and then he came out and said it was transitory, and I said, you are absolutely effing nuts. I don't understand how you can think this is transitory. We are printing trillions and trillions of dollars as fast as we can print them, and we are sending money out as fast as we can send it. Do you not understand how the monetary policy works? And then he did it again, and then finally he said, yeah, inflation, we got to get inflation down. Yeah, you think? We know you do. We knew it was coming. Well, anyone who wasn't... anyone who's taken any rudimentary math class should have known it was coming. And I can't stand people that do things either because they're stupid. Either he's the dumbest person ever, which I don't think you get to be that level of your job if you're totally dumb, or you are appeasing someone and lying to appease people, whether it's the president or somebody else or the American public or whoever you're trying to lie to or lie for. I'm not for it. So no, I hate Powell. I shouldn't say I hate Powell. That's not fair to anyone. I don't like Powell as our Fed chair. I don't like the Fed, though. The Fed's a useless entity. It was created really for no reason whatsoever. Everybody thinks the Fed controls the market, and I could not disagree more. Okay, there's 645.99. We've hit it. Move our stops on our option up to $1.60 now. So we always trail our stops. We'll take usually a couple profits, and then trail stops on the last part. We may take one more profit, so we'll cut another half, maybe up around the 1 day max if they get there. Otherwise, we'll just trail stops all the way. How do you really feel? I'm pretty. I don't hide much, honestly. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve in a lot of situations, and I'll be honest, probably not my best characteristic. I should shut my mouth sometimes, but I don't hide a whole lot. I mean, the people in my... I think the people in my rooms probably know as much about me and my family as my family does, so I'm a pretty open book about what's going on in my life and how I feel and those types of things. And I'm also of the opinion you're allowed to have an opinion and not be a bad person. You know, we've moved into this world where if your opinion is different than mine, then you're the devil, instead of your opinion is different than mine. Why? I'm a curious person. So if you have a different opinion, I may argue with you because I like to debate. But I'm not arguing because I think you're dumb or stupid. I'm arguing more to hear what you have to say about your opinion. And there's been a lot of times that I've argued with very educated is the wrong word. You don't even have to be educated. Well thought out people where you still may not agree with them, but you can understand why they feel the way they do. And I think that's something that's been lost in America, well, at least in America, if not the world, is understanding. There's just no grace and understanding for anyone anymore, no matter what they believe, and that's leading us down a very bad path. Do you like electric vehicles like Teslas? To drive. I've actually never driven an electric vehicle. I've ridden in Teslas as Ubers, and they're pretty impressive, honestly. I mean, I think that there's room for all kinds of different vehicles. I don't particularly care if you drive an electric vehicle or a diesel vehicle. I'm not a tree hugger, and I'm also not an innovation hater. And if somebody can make something that is better and consumes less fuel and does better things, then I think that's probably a net positive. All right, we're breaking out over the high here. We're going to move our stops up to 180. So now we're up to like a double or a triple here at least, huh? We're doing pretty good. It's a nice trade. Stops to 180. There we go. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast. We try to get you in, the indicator tries to get you in at tops and bottoms. This is the net bottom of the day. I mean, obviously we didn't get in when the candle was exactly at the bottom. It was probably right in here somewhere at about 644.79. But you were on the first candle to start the reversal process. And this is what the whole idea of the indicator is. Find key areas on volume and meet the thresholds of all of the different things we look at, all of the supporting data, all of the different volume levels, price action, all of that stuff, and get you in where you're most likely to see reversals. And those are where you want to be. I mean, you want to be trading off of support and resistance. When everybody's like, oh, well, trying to find bottoms and tops is hard. It is. You're right. That's why I have an algorithm do it instead of me. But when you come down into this level here, and bounce, that's a great place to take a trade because you have a huge support level. You've bounced. Now you have a great place to place your stop, and you should be looking for some kind of reaction. And that reaction can be small, where you get a small winner and then down, or it can be big, like this one, where you get a big winner. So they spiked through this key level, they got back above it, and then off we went. So always looking for those key reversal areas. That's why the indicator is so effective. That's why trend days are the enemy of the indicator, because on a trend day, you don't hold support and resistance. So if you're trending down into this, and you come down and you bounce, you enter the trade, and then this happens, and then you get to the next level, it bounces, you get a trade, and then this happens. Because these are levels and criteria is met where you would expect these to hold. However, on trend days, they don't hold, and the bears or bulls, whoever wins out, and you get a trend in one direction, and so any counter trend trading is futile because you're trading against a steamroller. On normal days, you hit the pre-market low and you bounce, you hit the pre-market high and you reverse, you hit key levels and you do this. You don't always have trends like that. Trend days are probably 10% of the time, maybe 15, and then 85% of the time you are in some kind of range. And there are key levels in those ranges to trade off of, and that's what the indicator does for you, is find those levels. So we're trading the 85%, we're not trading the 15%. Everybody's like, why aren't you trading with the trend? Because trends are, one, hard to find. They only come about 15% of the time. And two, they're hard to get in on because you either get locked out in the pre-market or you don't want to chase. There's a lot of different reasons you could be there's a lot of different reasons it's hard to get in on the trend. And I'm talking day trading, not in the bigger trends, like 5-minute trends. So we've made a new weekly high. The monthly high is 646.50. That's the all-time high. So we're basically back at the all-time highs here. Right? Isn't that the all-time high? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, 646.50. So we're basically at the all-time highs right here, and rejecting, which makes sense. I mean, we're coming back to the all-time highs and turning off of it. So that is a key level that I didn't catch in there until just now. I'm usually looking at the bigger ones, the one-day max, the call resistances. I did not catch the monthly high there. Which is also the all-time high. So a rejection here would not be uncommon. Whether it's a big rejection or a small rejection is to be determined, but you're already seeing the 5-minute chart turn down at least slightly here. Who do you think will dominate AI? OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek? I have no clue. I'll be honest. I use AI a lot, um, and I just because it's what was the first one out, I use ChatGPT the most. And being first to market is usually pretty good. But honestly, I think NVIDIA is the answer. Chip makers because they need more and more power. Um, but I don't know. Honestly, I'm not educated enough on that stuff to even know all the options out there. And a lot of times, the people you think or you don't think about, for instance, in the .com bubble, Amazon was $1 a stock in a bookstore. Now it's the largest worldwide retailer there is, and they dominate the market, and they have basically pushed everyone out of big box stores. And um, I don't think anybody saw Amazon coming. Did you code your indicator yourself? No, I didn't code it myself, but the inputs, me and a trader, a really, really, really good day trader, um, put together the inputs for it. Then we hired a coder to write it. And that's the thing is, if you are a really, really good day trader, you're still trying to look at 1,000 pieces of information all at once. Multiple charts, multiple time frames, multiple moving averages, multiple high volume zones on multiple levels. Um, there's just a lot to keep track of. And you miss a lot when you're trying to move quickly because day trading is a game of seconds. You have seconds to get into your trade, otherwise you can miss the move completely. So if you have something that compiles all that data in real time and hands it to you, I don't know what else you'd want, because um, when I was running a trading journal, which I still do, but when I was running a trading journal, day trading um, without the indicator, I would always go back to my losing trades and say, is there something I missed here? And inevitably, there always was. I mean, there's always something you miss that you try to learn from and get better at. Well, you don't have to go worry about what you missed because the indicator's looking at everything for you at once, so you're not missing anything. And then what we're doing is we go in and say, okay, let's look at the indicators losing trades and see if there's anything we can learn from them to improve the output. And there have been some minor improvements done that have yielded better results. And that will continue to happen anytime we have especially if we have a losing month, which doesn't happen often. We showed our results earlier. We've had, I think, 4 losing months out of 19. When we have a losing month, we go try to identify the problem and see if there's a way to fix the problem. Sometimes there's not. Trend days, in order to fix that, you're going to miss too many trades in order if you want to fix trend days. So we haven't found something we like yet. I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll find a way to code that in, but right now it's not working the way we want, so we're not doing that. If you hire a coder to develop an indicator like this one, are there legal parameters that yeah, I mean, you have NDAs and stuff, and uh, obviously copyright protection and all that kind of stuff. Yes, is the answer. All right, got a little bit of a doji there at the top, and now seeing some follow through. If they break the bottom of that doji, we could see at least a test of the 8 there, the red line. But those types of candles can be topping candles, especially if they break through the bottom side of that doji and do it on a little bit of volume. NQ back above overnight low. Maybe the rally has legs. I would be skeptical. The only reason I would be is certainly all the parameters support higher. We talked about the ADD reversed, the Volt reversed, RTY's green, NASDAQ's turning around. All of that is supported. However, we are coming up to the one-day max, which in general, let me make sure there's not a secondary. Sometimes there's a secondary one-day max, kind of a backup. No, so there's no secondary one-day max. And in general, this zone is going to hold. So I would say it's got legs maybe for another $1.50 or so, and then we'll see. Again, we've seen them run through the one-day maxes before. That's not something that is terribly uncommon, but they usually come back to them. Even on Friday, if we go back to Friday, they got through the one-day max isn't there for Friday anymore, but they got through it, but by the end of the day, they had come back close to it. Jacob, I'm older, had 4 eye surgeries. Would you consider in future enhancements offering the option to select the size of SS, etc. text? Please and thank you. Yeah, I can. I'm sure that's an easy thing to put in. I'll ask my coder about that. Welcome to the stream, Texas Trader. My brother lives in just outside of Dallas. All right, pressing into the all-time highs here. Small consolidation just under them. It would be slightly abnormal for them to just walk right through the all-time highs here. So what I would expect is either they reject off of the all-time highs, right? Or they come up to the one-day max and then reject back below them, or even above the one-day max and then reject back below them. But I would look for at least a small rejection of the all-time highs. It doesn't have to be like 100 points or anything. It could be, 10, 20 points or something small. But no rejection would be a little bit surprising. And anytime they do that, so anytime they come to a major level and walk right through it and don't give you a reversal, so let's say they do this, I would circle this level, 646.50, because they will 100% come to that level very soon and backtest it, 100%. So if you don't get the rejection at the level, you'll get it from above back to the level. So those are the two things you should look for at major supports and resistances. Either a rejection that can be small and turn into a big rejection, or if they push through it, they can spike and reject. But if they truly push through it, you can definitely look for any kind of reversal type candle to come back and test that zone that they just walked through, because they definitely will. Is it possible to program the indicator so that an audible ding goes off when a trade signal pops up if I'm at work and can't watch the screen? So, I don't know. And the reason I don't know is you can program it so that TradingView gives you an alert. I don't know if that alert is audible, because I don't use the alerts because I'm always watching my screen. So, let me see if I can figure that out while we're waiting here. Okay, so we want it in, yeah, that's fine. Condition, buy alert, same as chart, only once per bar. The alert will only trigger notification, notify app, show toast, and email with play sound. Yeah, so right here, play sound. Brad Vanetter says yes, he uses it. So there you go. You go in to where I just did it and play sound, and it should give you an audible alert when a buy or sell comes up. And you can set it. I know that there's. Hold on. We go to add alerts. So buy alert, you can change it to buy or sell alert, buy alert and stop sell alert. So you can do all of those. Oh, there's a Canadian synthesis. I learn stuff every day. He says you can right click on the triangle and then add alert. There you go. You can do it that way as well. By the way, there was no rejection at the pre-market high. They pushed above it, and now they're going to come back and test the pre-market high. On the NQ, if we go over to the NQ real quick, we can see another example of this, a better one. I think. I'm pretty sure I'm right here. Let's see. No, okay. So you did get this candle here. It came down to the pre-market low, and then they spiked right through it, and then right back above it. So yeah, they just spiked and reversed it from there. Remember, it is a holiday week. Holiday weeks tend to be bullish. You do have a catalyst today that's a pretty significant catalyst. But we are at all-time highs, and that's, catalysts from around all-time high areas can be reversals. So no slam dunks, but statistically this week should be bullish. No problem, Will. Happy to help you. Will NVIDIA be the catalyst that pushes us to 650 on the SPY? That's the question. SMH, NVIDIA, and Meta still down a little, but the rest of the Mag 7 red. I'm sorry, green. The rest of the Mag 7 green. So if most of the Mag 7's green, that's a pretty good sign. But we are seeing the ADD start to turn over. That's this is what you want to see. These are the types of things, if you're trading, that you're looking for junction, if you will, like the old TV show Schoolhouse Rock. You're looking for some kind of key level. So you have 647 here. Price to continue moving toward that key level, but the ADD to be dropping. That tells you that under the hood, this is weakening, and we're entering this key area. So a turn down here would be more likely, and that's what you want to, if you're looking to trade off this level up here for a short, you're looking for a turn down possibility. So those are things you want to see. I have to step away for 1 minute to use the restroom, guys. Sorry. Let's see here. Do we 190? We're close. And there's the turn down we were talking about. Rejection off the highs, the all-time highs. The market has barely moved, but still making money. Yeah, that's the whole. Thing with the indicator. You don't have to have huge moves to make money day trading. We're trying to get that 20% win first, and then hopefully get a little bit of a push for a runner, and then see what happens there. They're testing the 21 in VWAP, very common area. Now, if they hit here and move higher, typically that is a trend day setup. I always have caution on trend day setups where there's not a lot of room on the one-day max. You can see the one-day max right here at 647. So if, and this is a big if they're able to hold and make a new high here, I would be skeptical of a full-on breakout. RTY has given back a lot of its gains, so that's another thing. So we saw ADD moving down, RTY moving down. Now we're starting to see some weakness under the hood. The VOLD is moving down. So we're starting to see the market change character a little bit. It was bullish to start the day. We moved up to the all-time highs, and now I've turned over, and now it's starting to look a little bit more, look a little weaker. I'm not going to say bearish. It doesn't look bearish. It looks weaker. That can be obviously a short-term rejection off this high, and then they can resume, or it can be follow-through. Well, that's all to be determined. Kind of in slow motion mode now. Back test of the 21, nothing really happening, so we wait. So the red line is the momentum line. We've talked about that. That's the 8. They tried to spike below it there, but couldn't close below it. So for the bears to start to get any kind of momentum or acceleration to the downside, they need to get below and stay below that red line. Do you currently own any individual stocks? I do. I have a portfolio, several different ones. I own NVIDIA, Microsoft, sorry, I have Salesforce and a few others that are a little lesser known, but yes, I do have a portfolio. So the ES and the SPY have moved into buying weakness, which is a sell, but the NQ has not. So if the NQ gets on board, we could get a sell signal here. In that case, we would close out our long and flip short. Falls behind. Okay. All right. Sideways, sideways, guys. Still seeing weakness on the ES, not as much on the NQ, which is to say, not that the NQ doesn't have a similar bar, it just means that it has not given a sell signal yet. So could be seeing a sell signal fairly soon from this zone. Again, right at the prior all-time highs. Would make a lot of sense to me for the market to, you know, do this today and then, you know, after hours do something like that. Or even down, you know, I'm not telling you it's going up for sure. I'm just saying if it is going up, it would make sense for it to consolidate just under the highs and then use NVIDIA to push through the highs. JG, when possible, can you give a quick overview if how PT trades in the combined room? I haven't upgraded yet, thinking about it. I like your swing indicator. In your opinion, does PT day trade daily? So PT doesn't day trade like I do, but he does do trades that, you know, he'll do. If the market looks stagnant, he will do some iron condors or iron butterflies or whichever one they are. I forget. I don't trade those, so I'm not an expert on those. Um, but he does some stuff like that. He does his reduced risk binary trading, which is an advanced form of options that kind of gives you a really cheap price to get in. A lot of times you get a credit to get in, and then you have 10 points of room versus whatever your risk is. So I know he sets up trades like that. And he runs other kind of advanced trades that he does standard longs and shorts too. But he also does individual stocks and does a lot of that stuff. And his trading style is just a little different than mine, and it should be. I mean, you're getting a different room with a different trader. If you got the exact same things you got in my room, that'd be weird and useless. So he's a little bit more of an advanced trader. His methods are a little less common, I should say, but they're very effective. Good luck, everyone. Having to go back to work. All right, Will. Thanks for joining us. Good luck to you if you're trading. George T. GC moving up nicely. Good. Let's see. Gold's still basically flat today. Oh shit, we got a sell. We got a sell signal, guys. I was looking at a message on my phone there and missed it, so we're going to close out here at 2:15. And we are going to get to a put at 646 at 130. It's going to be 130 for the put. And our stop is going to be 646.75. We closed out for 215. I'll get the average exit on that in just a second. So a nice winner on that first one. Let's see, that's 202. We got $171 average exit on that trade. So really nice trade there. Let's see if we can get any kind of rejection here off the all-time highs. Rejection in this area will get us back to 64.50. I don't think that low. What are we at? 64.90? No. Well, I mean, it's certainly possible. Let me zoom out here and look at this chart. Let me see what this right here looks like. We get a 1 and 2 off of this. We got 50 zone. 65.83, a little higher than we would like. Yeah, 64.50 is a possibility. Yes, if they reject here, but they got to break down. They got to break down below this low here, 644.42, which is about 20 points. Yeah. So this 644.44 level, the low of the day. If they break down below that, then yeah, 64.50 would come into play. We moved it up here and parked it all day so far, guys. So it's been pretty slow moving across the top here. They haven't been able to break and close below that red line. Remember, that's the momentum line. They need to get below that first, then they'll test the 21 in VWAP. But as long as they're above that red line, then higher is the most likely path. I do fear consolidation and sideways action up here. The ADD is stabilized. It was dropping pretty good. The volt is also stabilized. Neither are what you would call incredibly strong, but they're also not weakening. So you want to see them weakening here. They were weakening, and now they've kind of stabilized. So we'll see if we get any follow through. RTY back up 11 again. It was down to 3. So while the market hasn't moved much on the ES and the SPY, RTY has moved back up to 12 and might be at the high of the day. I'm getting close to it, yeah. So the high of the day up here at 23.78, and they're at 23.76. So very close to the high of the day on RTY. We'll see if they're able to reject that high as they back test it here. If this sell does fail, this does put us in trend day mode. So if you look here, you have pre-market highs right here, right? So you break above the pre-market high, you back test the 21 and hold, and then you come back and make a new high. That puts you in a trend day type mode. And in those cases, we will not be taking the sell signals anymore because they very often fail. If you want to take one off the 1-day max area, if we get one there, I would understand. But I will. I've seen too many trend days chew up people trying to sell against it, so we don't do that, or I'm not going to do that. This would be the only sell I take if it doesn't work. Don't forget to hit the like button, especially if you made money on that first trade. You did very well on that one. Helps me reach other people, share the videos, comment. All those things are great. I do appreciate all of it. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being part of the stream and your participation on the video. NQ doesn't seem to be in a rush to get anywhere. Probably not. With NVIDIA reporting after the bell, consolidation today would be a very common theme, or likely theme. $646.49 is the high of the day, 1 penny short of new all-time highs on the SPY. We talk about this almost every week, but because almost every week it happens in one direction or another. When you see a fail here, so you pre-market low, come down, they fail to break down below the pre-market low, and then they got back above the 21. Almost always, when that happens, you're going to the pre-market high at a minimum, which was $645.99. I talked about it back here. So if you take lessons away from today, that's one. The pre-market high is a very good target if the pre-market low fails, and vice versa. If the pre-market high fails and they fail back below the moving averages here and stuff, they're very likely to come down to the pre-market low by the end of the day. It may not be right away like it was today. Sometimes they'll do it at the end of the day, but very likely to come back to that area or go up to that area once the pre-market low fails to break through. That's a very common old school trading thing of price action that happens quite a bit. If the bottom of the range fails, it goes to the top of the range. If the top of the range fails, it goes to the bottom of the range. Jacob, do you ever take into consideration market profile? Um, in what sense? Bell and Sebastian, hi Jacob, I just found your live. Well, glad you're here. Thank you for that. I hope you've been here for more of the talking. Right now we're just in a trade and we're kind of slow, so hopefully you enjoy it. We took the buy right out of the gate. Had a nice winner to the upside. It took us right to the all-time highs here and told us we have a sell right now. So far not going how we hope on the sell side of it, but we'll see if they can reject the all-time highs here. Texas Trader, as far as market profile goes, all price, volume, all those things are factored into the indicator. So I guess the answer is yes. In some sense we do, but I don't have it on my chart or anything. I guess the answer is kind of yes. If this is an ABC up to 65.50, where do you expect A to end? A has already ended. We're in C. So right now we're looking at A, 50% retrace in B, and now C higher. And C should take us up to the topping area. In the sense of taking trades, daily targets, or direction, yeah, that's all factored into the indicator, so yes is the answer. The indicator looks at those types of things and factors it into what it's calculating. All right, let's see if we can get rejection off the highs here. They're trying. Again, they got to get below the momentum line, which is that red line there. That will start the downward process. Then we'd look for a back test of the 21, which happens to also be at the pre-market high at 645.99, and then we'll see what happens there. But they got to get below the red line before any of that matters. Guys, if you are just joining us, we are trading live. I'm Invest with Jacob. My name is Jacob Gabbard. We are trading our indicator live. We had a buy signal right here on the first bar of the day. Did really well on that. Again, told us to sell up here at the top. So we got out of our long and are looking for the market to try to reject these highs. So far that's not going great, but they're not breaking out yet. They're just testing the highs. So we're looking for a failure here. And again, we're not ever looking for anything more than 7 to 10 points on the ES, which should give us about a 20% win. And then hopefully there's potential for that to break down or break out and go further. What price did I get in at? I got in at 130. So for me, 156 will be the first take. Where can we learn about the elements the bot uses to learn to fish? Does your advanced course teach it? So no, the Elliott Wave courses teach Elliott Wave, and those are going to be more about charting trends, moves, things like that. Not necessarily. There's some trading pieces in there, but that's more about how to use Elliott Wave to find key levels, do those kind of things. The Trade Waves Academy, that is everything that you couple with Elliott Wave, such as how to find tops and bottoms, price action, options trading, all of the different things that go along with this. We can look at that real quick while we're waiting on the market here. We go to investwithjacob.com. You go to membership plans. So there's a lot of great information in here, guys. My monthly rooms, every day we go through. I give updates on all the levels, and then at 10 on Monday mornings I do a live at 10 o'clock every day. I do a call with my group going over all the stocks, the Mag 7, gold, everything, as well as a closing call at the end of the day in my rooms, updates, key levels, all the stuff you want and need. You get it all in those rooms. So there's that. If you just want to try out the daily call and see how those are like, you can try one for a day or a week right here. The indicator you get right here. This is for trading view only. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee, and of course today you're getting 30% off. But Trade Waves Academy down here, it's $497, but what you get for that is all of these modules. So these are all 2 hours long. This is market psychology, capital management, options trading, candlestick patterns, how to trade price action, bull and bear traps and spotting them, how to identify market reversals, fib levels, how to identify key support and resistance, and trade setups and proper risk reward. You can buy any one of these for $67. Or if you want to get the whole thing, it's $497 for Trade Waves Academy. And again, that's 10 modules at 2 hours, so it's 20 hours of training. You also get the Elliott Wave courses for free, so you get the beginner's course and the advanced course for free, so that's another $177 value. And you get the indicator for a month as well. So it's a really good deal. You get $59 plus the $177. That's, you know, what, $236 of free stuff on your $497 purchase, and you also get all 10 of these modules. It's a really good offer because they give you all of our training material in one wrapped up price. Okay, we have a new all-time high, 646.54, inching closer to our stop, which is unfortunate. Hopefully they can find a rejection up here. BattleBot, all the things taught in Trade Waves Academy, just so you know, are part of the indicator, but you'll never know exactly what's in the indicator because obviously it's proprietary. But those are, you know, things that the indicator wraps up into one easy-to-use function for you, so you don't have to monitor all the things that you would learn in Trade Waves Academy. But knowing those things, that helps you become a better trader, because um, if you understand price action and you're watching your trades, you can understand when trend days are happening, and when trading certain setups aren't great. There are lots of days that I say, I don't love this trade that we're getting here. I understand why we're getting it, but um, I think the trade should happen from a different level, something like that. I mean, there's just different aspects in the Trade Waves Academy that will enhance using something like the indicator. I mean, on my midday call every day at 10 o'clock, I give an update on what I think the market's going to do the rest of the day, and I don't want to. Other people can speak to this for me, but I'm usually pretty accurate on what I say the market's going to do the rest of the day, because I understand price action and I understand what the likely scenarios are, and that's Are there times it's wrong? Yes, because it's a probability, not a fact. Um, but those probabilities play out way more often than they don't. What do you reckon, JG? Inverse head and shoulders forming on NQ 5-minute chart? I've not looked. From where? I mean, unless if you say it's forming, like this would have to be your head. So they don't tend to form at the top. I would say no if you're talking like this is an inverse head and shoulders like that. I would say no, but that I'm not a head and shoulders trader or a pattern expert on that. But I generally want those at bottoms, not tops. All right, they spike the high. Okay, we're trying to get below the red line. Here we go. Maybe we can get something moving here. I like to move it, move it. If you have little kids, you've seen Madagascar. If they can get below and stay below this red line, well, they're below it. If they can stay below the red line, that's a good start. That gets kills momentum to the upside, puts a lot of pressure on the 21, and then we'll see if they can hold the 21 on a back test. But they got to stay below the red line first. From this morning UK time. I mean, I guess it's possible to see. From this morning, so I guess you're saying something like this. Is that what you're talking about? Again, I'm not a head and shoulders expert. That's not a pattern I trade very often. I believe you want this neckline sloping the other way. I believe you want that sloping up. But I mean, I suppose it's possible. It's certainly not impossible for them to hold support right here at 23,570 and then go higher. So yeah, I mean, it's possible. I don't know that I'd call it a head and shoulders per se, but that, again, I'm not a head and shoulders expert. Okay, closed it right on the 8. Now they're trying to get below it. Let's see if they can follow through. Once you got up here, volume has trailed off quite a bit. VWAP has flattened quite a bit, which tells you there's not a ton of buying up here because it's, remember, volume weighted average price. So if there's a bunch of volume up here, the average price will increase and VWAP will move closer to it. And it is increasing, but you can see it was a steep angle over here where the volume was higher. And then it's flattening now, telling you that it'll be easier to move back down to this price should the bears try to do that. So far, they cannot get through and stay through the 8. The red line is proving to be quite strong at this particular time. We'll see if they're able to work their way through. Remember, guys, Elliott Wave is based in price action. So remember, when you come up to resistance, like we did here, you fail, right? You come up, and this is A, so they test it. Then you get your B wave, and then 1 of C comes back, tests resistance. 2 of C should fail and reject. 3 of C should come up, test resistance, and chop, and then break out. That's how it should work. So we are at what we would call 1 of C here. We would look for this to be a failure, which is why we're seeing a sell signal. And if they can fail here, we will have a winning trade. Finally starting to get below the red line here. Let's see if they can get below the blue line. That's the next big step. Like I said, if they get below the red line, it'll put pressure on the 21, which they have. Now they've got to get through the 21. If they get through that, it'll put pressure on VWAP, and we should be looking at 645.78 or so. And that should get us to our first take. I'd like to see the bears close this down near the 21. If they close it green, that's not a great sign. That's going to be that they failed the 8 for a second, tested the 21 and held, and then reclaimed the 8 immediately, and that is a bullish move. The bulls are not wanting to give up any levels right now. Or maybe not allowing them to give up any levels right now. pretty slow moving action, letting the 21 come up to price. So there's two ways you can return to the 21 and VWAP. I'm sorry, letting VWAP come up to price. Two ways you can return to the 21 and VWAP. One, you can come down and test it, and then two, you can do this and have it come up to price. Eventually there'll be enough volume up here that it'll come up to price, but right now they're consolidating and allowing the 21 to come up to price before they try to move on, unless of course they can break down below it. But as of right now, there's no signs of that yet, as they can't close any candle below the 8. All right, there we go. Now we're getting some movement. We need 156 here. Let's see if we can get that. Well, then, guys, let's go ahead and break down here. Like to at least see them close below the 8 here, and more importantly, you'd like to see them close below the 21. But you know, that could just be a liquidity spike there, kind of run stops before they go higher. We'll see if they're able to follow through. Follow through will be the key. If they start to crank this back to green and back above the 8, I'll probably exit my trade and call it for the live stream, just because you know, I may give them one more candle just to see what they can do. But if they spike it down almost to VWAP and then immediately put it back above the 8, that's not a great sign for the bears. So these kind of spikes here, when you see them, where they come down, threaten an area, and then immediately put it right back up. That tends to be a stop run, so they can get everybody out and then rip it higher. So we'll see if that's the case. They're trying to bounce this all the way back above the 8 right after that push down. And if they do, that's probably what we're looking at. But we'll see if the bears have any follow through whatsoever. If they do, then we can start to see a bigger move down back toward the 645.50 area. All right, we're going to give them a bar here. They closed below the 8, and we'll see if they can follow through at all. Yeah, you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah. Okay, so back to pressing on the highs here after that stop run. Very likely they're going to push up here. I am going to go ahead and exit this trade. I knew it. I'm going to go ahead and exit this trade here at 106, and sorry guys, my son had woke up, so I was tending to him real quick. I'm going to go ahead and exit the trade here at 106 and not go ahead and whether they hit the full stop or not. This is a trend day setup. 647 is pretty strong resistance, but this is not shaping up to be a great overall look for our trade. And I'd rather go ahead and exit and have a winning day and move on from there. So we are in trend day mode. We have exited our trade at 106. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it for the live stream. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you for being part of it. A winning day. Great entry there down at the bottom. They tried to give us a breakdown. The Bears have no follow through whatsoever. So that's where we're at right now. For all my members, we'll see you on the live call at 10. For everybody else, would love to have you in the rooms or be part of the indicator. If not, see you next week. Thanks, everybody.